Most men go through life completely blind to how women actually process deep attraction. You have been taught to look for obvious, unmistakable signals: instant text replies, clear compliments, explicit invitations, and warm, enthusiastic affection. You expect that if a woman feels a spark, she will naturally lean into you and make her interest completely undeniable. But that entire mindset is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology. When a woman experiences casual interest, sure, she might play along, stay friendly, and keep things simple. But the exact moment those feelings shift from casual attraction to real, intense, high stakes emotional investment, her entire strategy changes. She stops leaning in and she immediately starts protecting herself. What most men fail to realize is that genuine attraction feels extremely dangerous to a woman who isn't sure where you stand. Real feelings bring a massive risk of rejection, a loss of emotional control, and the terrifying possibility of caring far more about you than you do about her. Because of this, when the emotional stakes get high, love almost never looks like warmth or open affection. Instead, it masks itself as sudden emotional distance, sharp personal teasing, guarded body language, and silent, hyper focused observation. She pulls back just enough to keep her composure intact, watching your every move from what feels like a safe distance. If you only evaluate a woman based on her surface level actions, you are guaranteed to misread her completely. You will see her quiet moments as boredom, her sudden distance as a lack of interest, and her sharp jokes as coldness. In reality, you could be standing right in front of a woman whose mind is racing about you, but whose instinct for self preservation is forcing her to play it cool. Countless men walk away from incredible, genuine connections simply because they assumed a woman didn't care, when in truth, she cared so much that it terrified her. To navigate this, you have to stop listening to what she says on the surface and start paying attention to how her psychology operates under pressure. There is a hidden, unspoken language to concealed attraction, a set of distinct behavioral patterns that slip through her defenses no matter how hard she tries to keep them hidden. What follows are the 6 definitive psychological behaviors a woman displays when she is deeply, profoundly invested in you, but absolutely terrified of letting you find out. The precise memory. The first major psychological sign that a woman is secretly invested in you comes down to memory. A woman who is emotionally guarded will almost never tell you directly that she pays attention to you, but her subconscious mind will betray her every single time. Imagine mentioning a tiny throwaway detail in passing, a random story from your childhood, a weird preference for how you take your coffee, a specific brand of soda you drank on a trip years ago, or a minor goal you mentioned once offhandedly. You forget you even said it 5 minutes later. But weeks or even months down the road, during a completely unrelated conversation, she drops that exact detail right back into the dialogue. What makes this pattern so distinct is not just that she remembers, but how she delivers it. She will deliberately present this information with a tone of total indifference. She won't say, "I remembered this because I care about you." Instead, she will throw it out casually, off the cuff, almost like it just accidentally popped into her head. She might say, "Oh, yeah, didn't you say you hated that?" Or drop a reference while looking down at her phone, acting as if it means nothing at all. Her delivery is light, cool, and almost dismissive, but the accuracy of her recall is surgically precise. This is not a coincidence, nor is it just good conversation skills. This is a fundamental psychological process called emotional attunement. The human brain is an efficient machine. It naturally filters out useless noise and selectively prioritizes information connected to people who trigger an emotional response. When a woman has deep, hidden feelings for you, her mind automatically marks you as high priority. Without her consciously deciding to do so, her brain begins quiet background tracking, cataloging your likes, dislikes, habits, stress triggers, and random stories. The critical detail most men miss is the immediate reaction that follows her drop of information. The moment she realizes she just revealed how closely she's been listening, panic sets in. Revealing that kind of detailed memory creates instant intimacy, and intimacy feels dangerous when her feelings are unconfessed. To neutralize that vulnerability, she will immediately downplay it. She might shrug, make a quick joke at your expense, shift the topic abruptly, or act like she has a great memory with everyone. Do not be fooled by the cover up. A woman who is genuinely indifferent will forget basic things you told her yesterday because you don't occupy emotional bandwidth in her mind. A woman who cares too much tracks every single piece of your blueprint. She just works twice as hard to make sure you never realize she's holding the map. The connection retreat. The second behavioral pattern is perhaps the most confusing dynamic a man can experience, and it causes thousands of men to walk away from great relationships prematurely. It happens when a woman pulls away sharply, but does so immediately after a breakthrough moment of deep emotional connection. You spend an evening together where everything clicks. The conversation flows effortlessly, you share genuine laughs, the eye contact lingers just a second longer than usual, and there is an undeniable warm shift in the energy between you two. You leave that interaction feeling completely confident that a door has opened and her interest is solid. Then, the very next day, the wall comes up. Her texts suddenly become short and spaced hours apart. Her tone shifts from warm and playful back to cool, polite neutrality. If you ask to hang out again, she is suddenly busy, distracted, or hard to pin down. To any logical man, this sudden shift feels like a complete drop in attraction. You naturally assume she reconsidered, lost interest, or was just fake polite the night before. You think to yourself, if she liked how yesterday went, why is she acting colder today? To understand this, you have to look at how closeness impacts a guarded nervous system. When a woman is trying to keep her feelings under control, emotional intimacy doesn't feel like smooth progress. It feels like an adrenaline spike. That deep, powerful connection you both just shared was real, but it also created massive vulnerability. The moment she lets her guard down and enjoys that depth, her brain registers a brand new threat. She now has something real to lose. You matter more to her today than you did yesterday, and that realization terrifies her. Her sudden pullback isn't a sign that the connection failed. It's her defense mechanism trying to restore emotional equilibrium. Pulling away to her own space gives her nervous system time to cool off and regain control before her feelings outpaced her sense of safety. The key to decoding this lies entirely in the timing of her distance. If a woman disappears after a dull, awkward date where nobody felt a spark, that is genuine disinterest. But if she pulls back specifically after a powerful, high connection interaction, she isn't stepping away from you. She is stepping back from how deeply exposed she suddenly felt in your presence. Give her space to process that wave, and watch how quietly she orbits back once her defenses reset. Shielded teasing. The third distinct sign that a woman is hiding deep feelings for you lies in how she uses humor. When a woman is guardedly attracted to you, she will rarely give you straightforward, soft compliments. Saying something like, "I really love how passionate you get when you talk about your work," or "You look great today," feels far too direct and emotionally revealing. Direct praise strips away her armor and puts her feelings completely on display. To avoid that vulnerability while still getting close to you, her psychology shifts to a powerful alternative: hyper-specific, targeted teasing. This isn't generic banter or lazy, superficial jokes about the weather. Her teasing will zero in on the precise details of your personality, your specific habits, your quirky physical mannerisms, the unusual phrases you repeat, or the subtle ways you react when you get confused or passionate. She delivers these jabs with a quick, playful smile or a light laugh, acting as though she is just messing around and treating the moment as completely meaningless. But beneath that lighthearted surface lies intense focus. To tease you about those specific details, she first had to pay incredibly close attention to you over time. Teasing functions as the ultimate psychological shield for hidden attraction. It creates a safe zone where she can engage with you intensely, lock eyes, create playful tension, and trigger a dynamic back and forth, all without ever admitting why she's paying so much attention to you in the first place. If you ever call her out on it, she has total plausible deniability. She can simply laugh it off, tell you that you're taking things too seriously, or claim she was just making fun of you. It lets her enjoy your presence and probe your personality while keeping her real feelings safely under wraps. The absolute key to decoding this behavior is looking past her words and watching her physical micro expressions the second the joke lands. The moment she finishes delivering a jab, her immediate subconscious reaction will tell you everything. Watch her eyes. If she genuinely didn't care about you or was acting out of actual coldness, her attention would wander elsewhere. But a woman who is secretly invested will instantly look right back at your face to gauge your reaction. You will see a subtle softening in her gaze, a lingering smile, and a brief moment where her eyes search yours to see if you are playing along. That split-second look isn't hostility or mere sarcasm. It is an unspoken bid for connection, masked inside a joke so she doesn't risk getting hurt. Unconscious mirroring. The fourth behavioral sign is one of the most reliable indicators of hidden attraction because it operates entirely outside of her conscious control. When a woman develops strong, guarded feelings for you, her body language will start telling the truth long before her words ever do. Without her actively realizing it, she will begin to continuously mirror your physical movements, your speech patterns, your energy levels, and your overall pacing. You might sit down at a table and lean back, and within a few seconds, she comfortably adjusts her posture to match yours. You lean in forward to whisper a story, and she naturally leans in closer too. This synchronization goes far beyond basic body posture. It bleeds into the subtle nuances of her everyday behavior. You might notice that she starts adopting specific catchphrases, slang, or verbal habits that you frequently use, repeating them in her own conversations later on. If you are walking together, her stride will naturally slow down or speed up to match your exact walking rhythm without a second thought. If your energy is calm and relaxed, her tone automatically softens to reflect yours. If you get excited and animated, her eyes light up to match your enthusiasm. She is essentially acting as a physical mirror, reflecting your presence right back at you. From a neurological standpoint, mirroring is an involuntary biological response to high emotional attraction. Human beings are hardwired with mirror neurons in the brain that automatically fire when we feel a deep subconscious desire to connect with someone. When a person truly matters to us, our brain automatically attempts to build harmony and rapport by synchronizing our physical behavior with theirs. It is the body's natural, ancient way of signaling safety, alignment, and mutual trust. Because her conscious mind is forcing her to play it cool and withhold verbal confessions, her nervous system takes over and bridges the gap through physical alignment. To verify that this isn't just accidental timing or general politeness, look for consistency across different environments and moods. A woman who is simply being polite will maintain her own separate physical boundary and baseline energy, regardless of what you do. But a woman who is tuned into your frequency will repeatedly bend her body language to align with yours, over and over again, in noisy group settings, quiet one-on-one moments, and casual hangouts alike. She is using her physical presence to silently move closer to you, letting her body communicate the exact level of connection that her lips are still too afraid to voice. Stealth testing. The fifth psychological indicator that a woman is concealing intense attraction is her use of stealth testing. When a woman is deeply invested but terrified of exposure, she will continuously run low-stakes emotional experiments on you without ever making it obvious. On the surface, these interactions feel like completely casual, spontaneous conversations. She might drop a small, slightly vulnerable story about her past, share a minor insecurity she usually keeps hidden, or express a subtle preference regarding how she expects to be treated. She might set a small boundary during a conversation or bring up a sensitive topic just to see how you respond. To an untrained man, it feels like offhand chatter, but beneath the surface, it is a deliberate, highly calculated safety check. The reason she runs these hidden experiments comes down to the core fear driving her behavior, the dread of rejection and emotional exposure. Women who develop high stakes feelings realize that giving away their heart puts them in a deeply vulnerable position. Rather than handing you full access to her emotions all at once, she gives you tiny, manageable fragments of herself to test the waters. Each small piece she drops is designed to answer one fundamental question: is it truly safe to care about this man? She is evaluating whether you are observant, whether you will respect her boundaries, whether you will judge her vulnerabilities, or whether you will handle her feelings with genuine care. It is critical to understand that this behavior is not toxic game playing or malicious manipulation. It is purely a defense mechanism. She isn't trying to trick you or break your confidence. She is actively trying to find a reason to trust you enough to lower her defenses. If she hands you a piece of vulnerability and you dismiss it, make fun of it, or react with indifference, her suspicions are confirmed and her walls immediately slide back up. But if you pass her subtle tests by listening intently, respecting her space without throwing a fit, and validating her thoughts, her nervous system instantly recognizes that you are a safe harbor. You will know you have passed one of her stealth tests by watching the physical shift that immediately follows. The second her brain registers that you handled her test with emotional intelligence, her entire posture softens. Her shoulders drop, her facial expressions loosen, her eye contact relaxes, and a quiet wave of genuine warmth washes over her tone. She might not utter a single word about what just happened, but that subtle drop in tension is her nervous system rewarding you for proving that caring about you is not a mistake. The public versus private split. The sixth behavioral sign is perhaps the most glaringly obvious contrast you will ever observe when decoding hidden attraction. It revolves around the dramatic shift between how she treats you in a group setting versus how she treats you when you two are completely alone. When you are out in public, surrounded by mutual friends, coworkers, or acquaintances, she will act remarkably composed, strictly neutral, or even slightly aloof toward you. She won't make a scene to get your attention. She won't shower you with obvious affection in front of others. And she might even pay equal or more attention to everyone else in the room. If a casual observer were watching her public behavior, they would easily conclude that she sees you as nothing more than an average acquaintance. However, the absolute instant the crowd disappears and the room clears out, the mask drops. The very second you two are left alone in a private setting, whether it's walking to your cars, sitting in a quiet room, or hanging out one-on-one, her entire demeanor undergoes a radical transformation. Her voice drops to a softer, more intimate register. Her eye contact lingers significantly longer than usual. Her body language shifts toward you. Her guard completely vanishes, and her attention sharpens directly on you like a spotlight. The cool, distant acquaintance from 10 minutes ago suddenly becomes deeply present, warm, and hyper-focused on every word you say. This sharp night and day contrast is one of the most undeniable indicators of hidden affection in female psychology. A woman who genuinely does not care about you has zero reason to alter her behavior based on her surroundings. If she is indifferent to you, she will treat you with the exact same baseline polite neutrality in private as she does in front of a room full of 20 people. She has nothing to protect, nothing to hide, and no reason to perform. When a woman selectively guards her energy depending on the audience, it means public visibility feels like a massive risk to her. Public affection feels loud, exposed, and vulnerable, especially if she isn't sure whether her feelings are openly returned yet. She uses public neutrality as an emotional shield to protect her reputation and her heart from outside scrutiny or gossip. But when there are no witnesses around to judge her or call out her attraction, The burden of maintaining that wall becomes too exhausting to keep up. Her private warmth is her true confession, a clear signal that behind the quiet exterior, she has been waiting for the safe space to finally let you see her. Invisible sacrifices and conclusion. The final and most undeniable psychological indicator of hidden attraction is the presence of quiet, invisible sacrifices. When a woman is guarding her heart, direct verbal confessions feel far too dangerous. Saying, "I care about you," leaves her completely exposed. So her mind does something fascinating. It converts that suppressed emotional energy directly into practical action. Instead of telling you how she feels, she shows you through silent, behind the scenes effort. She will subtly adjust her schedule just to be in the same room as you, take on an inconvenience to make your day easier, or go out of her way to bring you your favorite coffee or snack. She remembers the tiny practical details of your life, like how you take your tea, what day you have an important meeting, or a small errand you've been dreading. And she quietly takes care of it before you even think to ask. What makes these actions so telling is not just that she does them, but how quickly she downplays them afterward. The moment you notice her effort and try to thank her, she will immediately laugh it off, shrug, or claim it was complete coincidence. She might say things like, "Oh, I was already in the neighborhood anyway," or "It was no big deal. I had extra time." This isn't modesty, it's emotional self preservation. She wants to pour care into your life because her feelings are driving her to make your world better. But her fear of exposure forces her to frame every sacrifice as accidental, effortless, or completely routine. If a woman is genuinely indifferent toward you, she will never bend her routine, rearrange her day, or expend personal energy for your comfort. Indifference protects its own time and effort above all else. But a woman who is secretly invested will perform small acts of devotion with a kind of invisible grace, making massive efforts look like absolute coincidences, just to ensure you stay cared for without putting her own heart on the line. Over time, these consistent, quiet sacrifices create an unmistakable pattern. Her actions are shouting what her words are still too terrified to declare. When you step back and connect all these behavioral pieces, the precise memory of throwaway details, the sudden distance after intense connection, the targeted teasing, the subconscious mirroring, the stealth safety tests, the split between public aloofness and private warmth, and the quiet, downplayed sacrifices, a crystal clear picture emerges. She is not cold, she is not uninterested, and she is certainly not confusing. She is simply a woman who feels something deeply, but is terrified of what happens if she lets it show. Real love is rarely loud and demanding. More often than not, high stakes attraction sounds like silence, small tests, and subtle shifts in behavior. Once you know how to decode these hidden signals, you will stop misinterpreting her caution as coldness and start seeing the quiet truth right in front of you.